Alright, welcome back to another episode of Mountain Road Ride, and today we're here in Boise, Virginia, just outside of Harrisonburg for the Rocktown Rambler. Now, this is a gravel race that I have been excited about for some time because they had to cancel the 2020 edition, and so this being the first running of this race is sure gonna be a good one. Now, maybe you've seen my bikepacking trip that I went on from Washington to Harrisonburg, and on that trip I got a small taste of this particular route. Now, for today's ride, we're gonna go on 2 laps of 25 mile each. There's the option to also do the shorter race in the 25 mile distance, but I am signed up for that 50 mile ride, so I'm excited about that. It should be a good one. Lots of climbs in this area, so nice and explosive start to this race right out of the gate with a steep uphill. Let's get it done and line up for this Rocktown Rambler.
So I have a few announcements for all of you. First things first, thank you so very much for coming out. This is our first ever gravel event. It was a little terrifying at first to think about putting on, but we are very, very excited.
And off we went. The race started with an easy neutral rollout from the Bryce Resort, but it didn't take long for the action to start. As soon as we turned out of the resort, the first climb of the day awaited. This was sure to shape the race right from the get-go. What's the best form of defense? Offense. Knowing that the hammer was about to drop, I went straight to the front of the group to best position myself for any early breaks. Then, just as predicted, the moves started. It's not often that a race is won or lost within the first mile of an event, but in this instance, it was. Jeremiah Bishop, Ben Wright, and Christopher Hardy shot up that climb at an incredible pace, and even with one big effort to grab onto their wheels, I still couldn't hold on. Podium places 1, 2, and 3 wrapped up. See you at the finish line, guys. There were a few valiant efforts to catch up with the lead group, but the damage had been done. Behind me, the group had solidly splintered from the intense start. This Rocktown Rambler was off to a rocking start. At the top of the climb, a few of us had regrouped, and the race was on for 4th place. You might have noticed that there's been no gravel up to this point, but that was about to change on the next downhill. Let the gravel fun begin. This downhill was so much fun, until it wasn't. When the rider in front of me lost his water bottle in a washboard section, I glanced down and noticed that my GoPro had fallen off my wrist. I couldn't leave it in the dirt, so I pulled off to the side, flung my bike around, and channeled my inner Chris Froome as I ran up that mountain. And that's how the race was lost. This stunt triggered my Garmin's emergency feature to send a text message to Kristen notifying her that I had been in an accident. Since I was too busy running up a mountain, I didn't cancel the prompt in time, leaving her worried sick that I was in trouble. Fortunately, the only trouble I was in was the big effort now required to get back to that group. I was not gonna give up. I gave it all I had and kept pushing the pace. Each small rise in the road I attacked, and one rider at a time, I pulled closer to the group up the road. There they were. I could see them in front of me. This is where you dig deep. This is where you don't give up. Let's catch them. I did it! I managed to work my way back to that group. I burned a ton of matches by doing so, but it was a very rewarding feeling getting back into that bunch. Yes, there were some seriously fast downhills along this route, but each one of those downhills had to be earned. And one of the most challenging climbs of this race was up next. Trust me, this edit doesn't do that climb any justice, and getting to the top was a massive relief. I've actually ridden on this section of the course before, but in the opposite direction during the Trans-Virginia bikepacking trip. Remember this? Gradient locked in at 18%. With a fully loaded bike, this is no joke. Well, luckily this time, that 18% gradient made for one super fast downhill. Once back in the valley, only one part of the course stood between us and the next lap, a highly entertaining section of single track. This route simply had a bit of everything. On the other side of the single track, it was back onto the road and back into the Bryce Resort. We rolled through the start and had to do that whole lap again.
One more lap.
The second lap was, however, far less eventful, and I got dropped on the same steep uphill where Jeremiah and the leading group raced away from us earlier. This left me on my own for most of the second lap until the last part, where I joined up with these two super strong 50+ riders who helped me to get to the finish line. At this point, the earlier efforts to chase back into the leading groups had me solidly drained, and I cruised in to wrap up this action-filled race. A massive well done to all the riders in both 25 and 50-mile races who completed this challenging course. With this kind of energetic service at the post-race food stand, you have no choice but to be revitalized after a hard ride. Alright, so that's another gravel ride of the week in the books. We're wrapping things up here at the Bryce Resort in Boise. And today, it didn't quite go as planned. I think a lot of you have come to know me as a guy with the GoPro on my wrist at these events. And today, that trusty GoPro mount broke. So as you saw in the video, I had to turn around, go and get the drop camera from the ground, and that put me back quite a few positions, and I burned a lot of matches trying to get back in the front group. There is one lesson to be learned from this video, and that is that you just never give up. I put my head down, I worked as hard as I could, I got back to that front group, and I really do feel very accomplished that I ended up with a 9th place overall for this event, 7th in the open category, so I'll take that result. A little bittersweet. I think, had I not gone as hard to try and chase back, maybe there would have been a podium in there. So I'll have to come back and show this race what I can do in the future. But I hope you enjoyed this spin along with me. As you did, please be sure to give this video a like and do hit that subscribe button. It really helps this channel out a lot. Until next time, I'm Vian. Enjoy your ride.